Hi guys, and welcome to Victoria's Aquatic Adventures. So today, my hair, yeah, I just washed it. I'm not doing anything with it because I don't feel like it. But we're going to talk about hamsters and their bedding for our first kind of segment. So let's get started. Okay, so first things first, I'm going to just kind of show you the first two habitats that I have for the two hamsters that we have in the household. So this is Clementine's Cage, and then we're going to get talking about their bedding. But this is Clementine's Cage. You can see her down there in the little corner. Say, hi Clementine, bye Clementine. I'll pull her out in just a minute so that way you can see her as we talk about her. And then this one over here, that's Buttercup. Yes, hi Buttercup. Hello. Buttercup actually food. He's so snazzy. Yeah. You gonna store some food? You gonna store some food in those cheeks? Okay. So basically Buttercup lives atop a 10-gallon. He has his wheel to keep his back straight. A nice little ramp that goes up to a nice little high rise. So yes, and then he has a little loft area right above his head, if you can see that at all. So that is Buttercup's big ensemble compared to Clementine's, but in a minute you'll see why this is actually Clementine's big ensemble as well. So let's get started. So this big chunker here is Buttercup. Come on, come back, come back. So Buttercup was actually a rescue. We didn't actually purchase him from a pet store. I adopted him for I think for like $1 where we got him. But as you can see in the bag, he's just a regular fancy hamster. Fancy milk's pretty large because he loves his fancy foods as well. And right now he's looking at my dog, but whatever keeps him nice and happy. I just put down some mint and a few little like a little rosemary leaf that I had torn to pieces to see if he was interested at all. I think he's a little shy. But so basically the care for them is actually kind of easy. Hamsters are pretty much territorial. Just kind of remember that. Come on, let's put you back in. I'll put you on your ledge. There you go. So hamsters are kind of territorial, especially the males. They kind of like their space and they don't like it to be messed with. So if they hoard something in a corner, they want it to kind of be there when they get back. They don't want you to mess with it or clean it. So like he got my sister got the cold shoulder when she cleaned his cage yesterday. So focusing on this, bedding for hamsters comes as like with a lot of different rodents, comes in a lot of different types of materials. It comes in cedar, which a lot of people do not recommend. It comes in aspen, which is probably one that a lot of people do recommend. There's this paper, like actual like uncolored paper. There's a colored paper that's apparently food dye safe, that they can chew on. There's also a like a pellet type of paper. I wouldn't recommend that for hamsters, as they like to burrow and stuff things in their cheeks and carry and rearrange their house. Yes, I'm talking about you. You're so cute. And then there's also of course pine. So as I worked as a veterinary technician before the accident for about 3 years, and then I went into a field where I worked for a few months. Of course I stopped because of my back as well, but I worked in that field as well, just kind of receiving animals that were just kind of came from a breeding facility where they weren't taken care of as well as like they should have been. And so what I can tell you from that is you can't read everything on the internet. And what that means is like you can't just say all hamsters get pine, or all hamsters get aspen, or all hamsters get Katie paper bedding, just because what I have actually found is that please just don't go splat. What I have actually found is that when you get a hamster, and he did just go splat. What I have actually found is that if you get a hamster, and I like to find out what type of bedding it is that they have lived on, just because I think that's the cause for most respiratory illnesses, because that seems to be the case from the ones that I have seen that has come in from out of like different breeding areas and different shipments, just because it just happens. So basically their body has been on basically, let's say, just like newsprint their entire life, and then they get shipped, and you put them on this different type of paper, and this paper has different, so their body's like immune to it, not immune to it. So their paper has different things, and it makes their eyes water, and it makes them sneeze and cough, and that's when we start to see the respiratory illnesses. So what we have here is, since he was a rescue, we didn't actually know. The first thing I tried in his house was actually pine. I tried pine in his house, and it didn't work over too well. His nose started to run, and his eyes started to water. So he actually lives with cedar, and he's been in cedar for a little while. We actually don't put a lot of cedar in his house, just because of the level. So we put just like a little level in his house, and he lives in a 10-gallon, as I remind you. So he's able to rearrange and move things around as he wants, and which is something that he actually does. So as you can see, he made his little bed corner over here. It's his little food hoard corner where he hoards some of his goodies. This over here is his like fruit bit corner where he hoards his even better goodies, and that back there is his potty corner. So, you know, they kind of just make their house the way they want it, and that's just how they keep it. So, as you can see right there, he'll move things around, and if he wants to, he'll chew on a little cedar bit. So the one thing I like to say is keep them on the bedding that you can see that they were rescued on. So if you get a pet from a big box store like PetSmart or such, then keep them on that bedding. If it's a paper bedding and their eyes and their nose are doing well, then keep them on that paper bedding. If it was like this little lady over here, wherever she may be in here, I will pull her out in a second. But if it's like this little lady Clementine over here, I got her from Repticon show. I actually saved her because she was being bullied by the other hamsters that were in the little thing, because I just turned around. I was buying crickets for my lizards. We actually had to transfer her over to just cedar with, she gets a pine cedar mix. And then that's fine. And I'll pull her out so that way you can just see like her eyes and nose are clear and everything, and she's living the best life. But her wheel is a different type of wheel, but she's also a dwarf hamster. So give me just 1 second, I'll pull her out. So this is Clementine, and as you can see, she is very, very tiny. Stay on the frame, baby. So as you can see, she's very tiny, and so that small wheel for her is actually a good thing, because it doesn't arch her back, and she can run straight, whereas Buttercup's wheel needs to be this type of wheel to where his back will stay straight. But so Clementine, yes, honey bug. Oh, you're so cute. I like your little feet. I love your little hammy feet. Yes, I do. They're so adorable. So please don't scream. There you go. So with Clementine, basically, you want to leave? So with Clementine, basically, she gets about 2 to 3 inches of bedding in her habitat. And the reason she gets about 2 to 3 inches of bedding is because she likes to burrow a lot more. That way she doesn't have to do a lot of the hauling and everything that Buttercup does, just because she's on smaller scale. I just wanted to make things a lot easier for her and just give her just a hoard of bedding. But that also means I have to look for her. Generally speaking, she's more than likely over in that little corner, and then she's hiding in it, and then you can see she covered her food bowl, or she's underneath her wheel. She's crawled on my hand. Yeah, or she's underneath her wheel. So with her, since her scale is so much smaller than Buttercup's, we didn't get her the 10-gallon because we thought that would be just a little bit too much space for her. We did, however, do the other transition right there, and they are experiencing each other. So we won't let them get close. As you can just see right here, the size comparison of these two hamsters are just like, wow. Come back, honey. Don't come. That's fine. So that is my kind of take on hamster bedding. However, like you can see here, her eyes are clear, her nose are clear. The only sounds I ever hear her make sound like little shots of electricity. Yeah, they sound like little shots of electricity. And she says that's because I'm screaming at you. Like, if you don't know, hamsters can scream. That's if they're terrified and they don't actually want to be moved or picked up. So I don't recommend it, but she's pretty much okay unless you try to pick her up and she just doesn't want to be handled at that time. So this is Clementine and that's Buttercup. Boop, boop. So what's gathered from this video is the main thing to look for with choosing your hamster bedding is they have so many different options, but look at what bedding they are existing on right at that current moment, and then decide if they look healthy at that moment. So you're going to want to look at their eyes, look at their nose, make sure they're not coughing, kind of check for their respiratory illnesses, just to see if they're a healthy pet, as well as if that bedding is what was appropriately chosen for them. So this is what I have done for these guys, so this is what works for me. Like I said, your pet is probably not going to work on cedar. Your pet is probably not going to work on pine. Your pet might just need aspen. It may just need paper. It may just need cedar. But you won't know until you kind of see what they can adapt to, what they can require. The other thing that I like about the natural woods is I try to get the ones that are least dusty or doesn't have as much dust in them, just because that's one of the things that you can incorporate very well. I think that's one of the reasons cedar is such, I guess, not here's your transport right now, Jay. But I'm thinking that's one of the reasons cedar is not highly recommended because it has that high scent, and I do think it smells great, and like they smell great, and they're not scratching all the time or anything. But I think the idea is that they're constantly moving. It's not good for them. But I mean, hamsters are burrowing pets. They're gonna burrow in anything, and any type of wood is gonna smell like wood. I mean, just going to Home Depot or Lowe's, the lumber section is gonna smell like fresh lumber. So aspen's gonna smell like aspen, and so on and so forth. So I don't want to put them on paper because I don't think like all that is just wood pulp with all these different additives in it, and I don't want to get them chewing on something that's not natural for their teeth, because then you know rodents' teeth always grow, and they need to basically chew on things to trim it back. So that's one of the reasons I chose this bedding, because it gives them something to chew on, kind of like the wood blocks, so they can chew on the wood blocks or they can chew on the bedding, and then that way it trims their teeth as well as it also keeps their hay very safe. What's her name also? Clementine also has like a cola tissue roll, just because that is also unprocessed and everything as well. But Buttercup can't take it. So just pick your hamster's bedding, and so the next segment, I'm not sure what we'll do. We'll probably talk about maybe the guinea pigs or maybe my rabbit. But I wanted to get a video in just before I kind of went in for my injection. So we're going to plan which one we're going to do after. Probably give me about 4 or 5 days, and we'll get another one in for you guys, and hopefully I'll look a lot better for you. I might do my makeup. I might do my hair. But so just pick your hamster. You're going to want to remember 5 things, okay? 1, check their health when you pick your hamster. 2, see what bedding they are on when you pick your hamster. 3, pick the size of your cage relative to the size of your hamster or what your hamster will become. 4, pick the will of your hamster. And 5, it's just like give them things to chew on that are natural and not processed and things like that, because if you only put in there that paper bedding, or if you only put in there the pellets and things, they're going to chew on it, because I mean that's what hamsters do, or they're going to return and start chewing on the middle bars. And so I mean, I'm not going to lie, when Clementine, she still hangs from the bars. Thomas, please. Clementine hangs from the bars and everything, so just give them the best life that you can possibly give them. Okay? Alright guys, bye. Thanks for joining. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends and your family, and subscribe. Yay! Bye.